Have you ever been in a situation where someone's actions felt like a physical blow, a betrayal so deep it left you reeling, only for them to look at you the very next day with a blank stare, a smile on their face, and an absolute conviction that nothing of any consequence had ever occurred? You replay the scene in your mind, every word, every look, every emotional wound, and yet they are operating in a completely different reality, one where you are simply too sensitive or overthinking things. This experience, this profound psychological whiplash, is more than just a simple case of someone being a jerk. It's a deep dive into the human psyche and a journey into the complex, often frightening world of the unconscious mind. Today, we're not just going to talk about this frustrating behavior. We're going to understand it. We're going to pull back the curtain on the reasons why people can inflict pain and then act as if it never happened, using the revolutionary insights of the great psychologist, Carl Jung. Jung believed that the surface of our conscious mind is just the tip of the iceberg, and it is in the vast, submerged depths of the unconscious that we find the truth about this baffling human contradiction. Let's start with one of Jung's most fundamental concepts, the projection. We've all heard the term, but few truly grasp its profound implications. Projection is not merely blaming someone else. It's a psychological sleight of hand. It's when we take a part of ourselves, a flaw, a feeling, a dark impulse that we find unacceptable, and we unconsciously throw it onto someone else. We see it in them, but never in ourselves. Think of it like a broken movie projector. The film, which is your own psychological landscape, is being projected onto the screen of another person. When the projector is dirty, you see smudges on the screen. But you don't clean the projector. You get angry at the screen for being dirty. A person who constantly accuses you of being selfish might be wrestling with their own profound, unacknowledged selfishness. A partner who cheats and then becomes irrationally suspicious and accusatory of you might be projecting their own guilt and betrayal onto you. In their mind, they didn't do anything wrong. You're the one who can't be trusted. They've externalized their own shame and guilt and placed it squarely on your shoulders. For them, this isn't a conscious lie. It's a deeply rooted psychological defense mechanism. Their ego cannot bear the weight of their own actions, so it offloads the burden onto you. In their distorted reality, they didn't hurt you, you just reacted badly to a situation you somehow created. But this is only a partial explanation. To truly understand this behavior, we must confront the concept of the shadow. The shadow is the most terrifying, yet most essential, part of Jung's work. It is the part of our psyche that we hide not just from others, but from ourselves. It contains all the thoughts, feelings, and impulses that society, our parents, or our own conscience deemed unacceptable. It's the jealous rage, the selfish ambition, the capacity for cruelty, the laziness we refuse to admit. A healthy person does not eliminate the shadow, they integrate it. They acknowledge its existence and learn to manage its energy. But for many, the shadow is repressed, locked away in the darkest corners of the unconscious, like a monster in the basement. When a person with a deeply repressed shadow hurts you, it might be the shadow itself acting out. It's an impulsive, raw, and often unthinking act that their conscious, everyday persona would never condone. The charming, kind, and loving person you know is the daylight self. But the one who said those cruel words or committed that terrible act was a manifestation of the night, self, the unintegrated shadow breaking free. This is why they can act like nothing happened. The person standing in front of you the next day is, in a very real psychological sense, a different person. Their conscious mind, the part they identify with, has walled off the memory of the shadow's action. It's a form of compartmentalization, a complete disconnection from that dark impulse. To acknowledge what they did would be to acknowledge the existence of their shadow, a part of themselves they have spent their entire lives trying to deny. This is a profound and terrifying prospect for them, so they choose blissful ignorance instead. The act of hurting you becomes an event that simply didn't happen because the person they believe themselves to be is incapable of such an act. And this brings us to the third piece of the puzzle, the persona. The persona, from the Latin word for mask, is the public face we present to the world. It's the polite co-worker, the loving parent, the respected community member. The persona is a necessary tool for social interaction, but it becomes a prison when we become so identified with the mask that we lose touch with who we really are. Some people's entire identity is their persona. They are not just pretending to be a good person. They have convinced themselves, on the deepest level, that they are one. When they hurt you, it creates a crisis. Their action, their act of betrayal, their cruelty is in direct, fundamental conflict with their persona. To admit they caused you pain would be to admit their persona is a lie, and that their core identity is flawed. This is a psychic collapse they cannot allow to happen. So, they defend the persona at all costs, and the easiest way to do that is to invalidate your reality. They will accuse you of misremembering, making a mountain out of a molehill, or simply being too sensitive. They are not being cruel for cruelty's sake. They are fighting for the very survival of their carefully constructed self-image. Your pain is a threat to their identity, and they will dismiss it with a startling lack of empathy to protect themselves. But Jung's work goes even deeper, into the realm of the collective unconscious. He believed that we all share a reservoir of human experience and universal symbols, which he called archetypes. These are pre-existing, inherited patterns of thought and behavior. When someone hurts you and then acts like it never happened, you might be caught in a psychological drama far older than either of you, the drama of the victim and the trickster. The trickster archetype is a figure who breaks rules, creates chaos, and operates outside of moral boundaries, often without consequence. The person who hurt you might be unconsciously playing out a trickster role, disavowing their actions with a shrug and a smile. And in this dynamic, you are subconsciously being cast in the role of the victim, left to suffer the consequences of their psychological game. So, how do we begin to heal from this? Understanding these concepts is the first step toward reclaiming your sanity. Their behavior is not a reflection of your worth, but a terrifying and sad window into their own psychological turmoil. It's not about excusing them, but about reframing the event. You are not crazy. Your feelings were not an overreaction. The pain was real, and it was inflicted by someone who, for their own psychological survival, cannot acknowledge the truth. Knowing this gives you immense power. It allows you to stop fighting a battle you can't win. You can stop trying to make them see your reality. You can say to yourself, I see what you're doing. I see that you cannot or will not acknowledge the pain you caused me. But I am not going to pretend it didn't happen. This isn't about confrontation. It's about self-preservation. It's about refusing to participate in their delusion. Your path to healing is not dependent on their apology or their recognition. It's dependent on your ability to honor your own experience. Journal your feelings. Talk to a trusted friend or a therapist who can serve as a witness to your truth. The most crucial part of this journey is to set boundaries, not for them, but for yourself. A boundary is not about controlling them. It's about controlling your own life. It's about deciding what you will and will not tolerate. Because in the end, The person who hurt you and acted like nothing happened is trapped in a psychological prison of their own making. They live in a reality where they are never wrong, never to blame, and never responsible for the pain they cause. But you, by understanding the mechanics of their denial, can free yourself. You can choose to live in truth, to acknowledge your pain, and to walk a path toward wholeness. This is the very essence of Jung's concept of individuation, the process of becoming a whole, conscious individual. Their behavior is a failure of this process, but your journey of healing is a profound and courageous step toward achieving it. You are not defined by their denial. You are defined by your capacity to heal and to live in your truth. Thank you for joining us today. If this deep dive into Jungian psychology resonated with you, please share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more insights into the human mind. Until next time, stay conscious, stay true to yourself, and remember that your reality is valid.